Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians, and welcome to the Cade Garage. Please remember to turn off your cell phones, or at least silence them. Please remember to bust your tables. Take the trash to the trash cans. And now, with the song and the pledge, I welcome my co-sergeant, because we are song leaderless today. We are the song leaders.
Oh, what do you want to sing? Okay, My Country 'Tis of Thee.
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm also the preacher today. I think we need more lay prayers. So I'm going to be the first of many, I hope. Would you bow with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you with unimaginable gratitude for life, for truth, for benefits, for this club, for our speaker today, for the work that they do to help people get back to life. Bless this food to our nourishment and us to your service. We ask this in your name. Amen. All right, guests, please stand up with your companions, and we will have their introduction.
With me today is Robert Valdez, and he's our speaker. He's brought a couple of guests of his own that I'll allow him to introduce.
Like Ryan said, my name is Robert Valdez. I have Kevin Ray with me, good friend of mine, and I have Mr. Mac Macchioni with us as well.
Fellow Rotarians, Jay Nordquist. I have as my guest today Zach Watson. He's a business banker with Ameris Bank. Please welcome.
Guy Joplin, do you have words to say? Let's hear it for our feast master.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians, or good afternoon, I guess. My brain is all running together since we're only 18 days out from the feast. We've got a very important Saturday coming up this weekend. We're going to be out at Hatcher Creek getting the grounds ready for the feast. So we need as many volunteers as possible. So from 9 to 12 on Saturday, if you're available, please come out and see us. I hear that JT may be even making lunch for some of us. And so looking forward to that, getting the site ready. Obviously, the feast is coming up on the 5th. We have hit our sponsorship goals. So thank you to all of you that sponsored or helped get sponsorships. And we're still selling tickets and selling raffle tickets. So keep up the good work, and I hope to see most of you on Saturday. Thanks.
Good news about sponsorship. Any other announcements? We're short on announcements today. Well, in that case, I'm going to fill in with a little something. I warmed up with the My Country 'Tis of Thee thing. And so I decided that we needed to have a little musical promotion of the feast. Ticket sales, they're okay, but they could be better. And you can't get in without a ticket. You can try to sneak in the back way, but there's, bears and possums and things back there. So, with apologies and thanks to Liza Minnelli, here we go. What good is sitting all alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is one great big feast, my friends. Come to the wild game feast. Pick up a plate, a fork and a spoon. you will be eating soon. Life is a great big feast, my friend. Come to the wild game feast. Come taste the wine. Come have a beer. Come see your friends start celebrating. Right this way, the Veggie Shack's waiting. Start by admitting you don't want to miss all that the feast provides. Oh, life is a great big feast, my friend. It's a really good feast, my friend. So come to the wild game feast. Oh, man. My ego took over there. And now, all we've been waiting for. Oh, I have one more story. We got time. No announcements. And, Robert's probably going to speak about an hour or so. Anyway, I have a House of Hope story. Some years ago, I got asked by Ed Garvin, who I think was a member of this club at the time, to see a guy at the House of Hope who had just gotten there. Terrible teeth, really bad. So we took care of him. Phil Ankrum, another member of this club, made him a denture. Long story short, he's the produce manager at Ward's now. The success stories are many, many, and I'm sure Robert's going to tell you all about that. And I don't want to steal his thunder. Sorry, Robert. So now, without further ado, which is about the most cliche in the world, here is our president, John Thomas.
Well, thank you very much, Randy, for that wonderful rendition of that song. I tried to convince Randy that he needed a couple dance moves with that, but I was informed in the actual musical that there are no dance moves for that, but fantastic anyway. So just a couple things. Fantastic to see everybody here today. Can't wait to see you on Saturday. There may or may not be some special food being cooked by Jason Shank, not myself. But anyway, so this Thursday we have the multi-club social at the Western Tavern from 5:30 to 7:30. That is the old World of Beer location in Tioga, in case you haven't been there, but we had a pretty good turnout last time, so hopefully you can join us this Thursday. With that, I would like to introduce Robert Valdez. Robert is the Executive Director of House of Hope, a Christ-centered ministry committed to restoration before, during, and after incarceration. And Robert has many other accolades, but I'll let him tell us about himself. Please come on. Please join us up here.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having me here this afternoon. It is definitely a pleasure to be here and be able to. Sorry, I'm not as tall as some people, but let me see if this works actually first, if it's connected. It is. And we'll make it to the. Oops, sorry about that. Now that you're all dizzy. Well, like you heard, my name is Robert Valdez, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys this afternoon. I do want to start off with just with a thought about the House of Hope. So at the House of Hope, as you can think of people coming out of prison, one of the things that we try to do is we try to help people re-enter into society in a supportive, responsible way. We prepare them inside, walking it out on the outside, and then also helping them realize that there's a purpose in their lives by being, multiplying their efforts. Now, when I was a young child, I would say about 9 years old. Both of my parents are from Dominican Republic. They came to the United States back in the 60s. Me and my sisters and my brother, we were all born in New York City. And by the age of 6, my parents decided to move back to Dominican Republic and raise a family there. And my dad kept on traveling back and forth from Dominican Republic to New York. He had a couple of grocery stores. That's what he did for a living. And so during the summertime, when I was off from school, he would take me over to Brooklyn, and I will work with him for the summer. And by the age of 9, he was paying me like $20 a week, and I will go and work like 5 to 6 weeks, in the summer. And one summer I made like $120, and I kept on bugging him about the desire that I had of having my first bike. And so finally I convinced my dad to buy a bike before we headed back to Dominican Republic that summer, at the end of the summer. And I tell you, it was a beauty. I had a BMX bike, all chromed up. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful bike. And I couldn't wait. It was all in a box. I couldn't wait to get back home and put it together and hopefully ride it. Now, the issue that I was facing was this. I didn't know how to ride the bike. Now, think about people coming out of prison with no plan, no home, no job, no help, and expecting them to succeed. Now, think about yourself coming out of prison. Hopefully that won't happen. Coming out of prison prepared with a plan, accountability, a community that is committed for your success. And see, that's the difference that the House of Hope makes. Now, many organizations address the problem. I like to say it like this, and I know it's kind of like different way. Maybe that might be my Spanglish in it, but House of Hope delivers solution. In other words, we don't just focus on the problem that we have in hand. We focus on the solution and how we can make that solution even better. See, we are driven by proven solutions, purposeful, and transforming lives every single day. As our dear friend here, mentioned about Jeffrey and early in his life. See, many organizations, we believe that when people are prepared before release, supported by a community during transition, and connected afterwards, individuals are restored, families are reunited, and entire communities are actually strengthened. You may say, so what will be the problem and the solution? In this case, we know that in the United States, it actually leads the world with incarceration. We have over 2 million people currently incarcerated. Now, to put that into perspective, that will be kind of like a little bit more than the population of the city of Jacksonville, or maybe 24 of the population of the city of Gainesville. Now, when you think about that in those numbers, one of the realities is that each year, hundreds of thousands of men and women will be released from prison. They will return home. In fact, there is a statistic out there that says that 95% of the current incarcerated population will be released in our lifetime. 95%. And yet, the system tells us that more than 50% will be rearrested within 3 years. Now, think about that. Now, there's a difference between rearrest and reincarceration. Rearrest is when somebody has, been incarcerated before, and maybe they just caught a charge for driving under the influence or whatever the case may be, or a lot of it, or I think the number one cause of rearrest is because of technical violations on their probation or parole. Now, that being said, what is interesting, when it comes to the numbers in the state of Florida or nationally, for say, it says that rearrest nationally is about 50%, give and take. In Florida, it says, and depending on who you're talking to and what side of the aisle people are in, they say it's about 60% in the state of Florida, people that get rearrested. Now, reincarceration, which means people returning back to prison, it says that in the United States, about 46% of the people within 3 years will be reincarcerated, meaning going back to prison. In Florida, that number is actually dramatically lower, which is a good thing, but still lets me know that there's a lot of work to be done. It's about 24% of people that return to prison. So the real question isn't if people are going to return back to our society or to our community. The question is how they actually return. Without preparation, structure, or support, reentry often becomes a revolving door, leading right back to the old habits, destructive lifestyle, and eventually back to reincarceration. But with preparation, accountability, and purpose, reentry becomes restoration. Now, to give you a little bit more insight about the House of Hope, who we are. House of Hope is a faith-based reentry ministry that walks with men before release, during reentry, and long after completion. The key focus here is this. I didn't mention that we just help them when they get out of prison. I didn't mention that whenever they're doing good out in society, we help them out. I said we work with them on the inside, we work with them as they transition out, and we work with them afterwards. I like to say that we like to be holistically involved in the full transformation of the man. Kind of like the idea when you think about, we're made of body, spirit, and soul. What good does it do if I just take care of my health but don't take care of my emotions? So the idea is that as humans, in helping people getting out of prison, we want to make sure that we are a ministry or an organization that holistically addresses every aspect of the human. So for over 29 years, and this is what for me is like, it's an honor to be able to be part of this ministry. For 29 years, House of Hope has provided continuing care, addressing incarceration, reentry, and long-term reintegration. Not as an isolated moment, but as a connected journey towards restoration and responsibility. Now, our solution is focusing on 3 different phases: inside, transitional, and aftercare. Now, on the inside program, and this is what I believe, or we believe, this is really where the work starts. It's kind of like ground zero, or, when you think about, boots on the ground, front lines, that's what I believe that where the work actually begins. I believe that transformation needs to start happening way prior to the release. One big thing that I always say when I'm working with inmates or returning citizens is that your reentry journey is not a moment when the gate opens. Your reentry journey is a process, and it's a journey that you must embrace in order to be able to become successful. Now, phase 1 is the inside program, which is where we help build the foundation before release. And through our inside discipleship program, we work with incarcerated men long before their release. And we focus on different things, like it says here: identity and mindset transformation, personal responsibility and accountability, recovery, awareness, and character development, spiritual formation and life purpose. And obviously, we help them with reentry education. We don't prepare men just simply to get out, which, that's the ultimate goal. Everybody is looking at their EOS, end of sentence day. And so what we try to do is we go in there and we try to mark the difference in their lives to bring awareness and create urgency of the importance of them preparing before getting out. See, one of the cornerstones of our organization is, or at least inside program, is called Reset. And this is an educational an awareness-based reentry course that helps participants understand the real challenges of reentry. It prepares them mentally, emotionally, spiritually for their life after prison. They learn practical skills related to employment, finances, relationships. This is a big one. I always say to the guys in prison, I'm like, if you're thinking that you're going to get out and go sleep in somebody's couch, that's not going to cut it. You have to wake up to the reality that that in itself is going to become a burden in somebody's life. And not only that, it's going to take a toll on you, on your rehabilitation back into society. So relationship, and also we help them with decision making. We try as much as possible to help them shift from survival thinking, which a lot of these people have lived their lives since young age in this mode, from survival thinking to responsibility and long-term planning. Now, Reset, this program, ensures that individuals leave prison informed, equipped, and intentional, not just overwhelmed and unprepared and scared. They're already going to deal with that as it is anyways. Now, phase 2 is our transitional program, and it's something that the House of Hope has been known for many years. And it's something that since I started as the director about 3.5 years ago, I've been trying to shift the mindset that prison ministry is not just one or the other. It's the entirety of you taking someone, mentoring them and helping them in prison and helping them see them through all the way through the process of becoming law-abiding citizens and responsible members of society. Now, our transitional program is walking it out. And in this case, we have a structured, gospel-centered, accountable transitional housing, daily mentorship and guidance, employment, placement, workforce development, financial literacy, and life skill training. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, and all the things that we try to provide to help and fill in all the gaps and to help people become successful. This is where I would say values actually become habits. Where in prison, we're instilling those values, and now that they get out and they come to our transitional program, those values are now becoming habits in their lives. And then what happens is, when that becomes a reality, hope becomes action. It's not just a wishful thinking. Oh, I wish I can be a husband again, or a father, or whatever the case may be, or that my employer can see me as somebody that can be trustworthy again. But the reality is that when this happens, we can know that hope becomes action. Now, our third phase, and as you can see here in the picture, you have a picture of us doing an event inside of a prison, and here we have a picture of one of our graduates here in our transitional program. So phase 3 is the aftercare and multiplication, like we like to call. Kevin Ray here on the left side of the picture here is our dear brother and friend that Kevin Ray came from, did about 4.5 years in prison. And, you know, he came in and God did an amazing work in his life through the House of Hope. And today, Kevin stands as our transitional coordinator, where now he's not only been with us for a year and some change, about 14 months, but now he is giving back into the transitional program and helping those that once walk in the same path that he's walked. And he is here with us today. So just wanted to highlight him. So one of the things that we do with our graduates is they remain connected through aftercare and mentorship. They serve as peers, leaders, and mentors. They support new residents and inside participants. They share their testimonies in prisons and throughout the community. Graduates give back by volunteering in daily structured programs. On Monday nights, we have a Bible study that we do at the House of Hope, and we have a couple of our graduates that come in and facilitate that. This is where impact actually multiplies. So formal participants become leaders, contributors, and role models of restoration. Now, looking at some results that actually matter. You know, sometimes it's hard to come up with numbers. And as I'm sitting there looking at, I've been at the House of Hope for 3.5 years as a director, and trying to gauge and see, you know, because everybody has like a different type of measuring stick. And so for me, it was more like there's different things that I'm going to start to measure. Now, the common denominator is not the lack of ability. In other words, that people don't have the lack of ability or the desire to change their lives, right? It's actually the lack of awareness and preparation structure in the support that we provide to people. That's why reentry, like the House of Hope, matters so much. Because when people are aware and they are informed about reentry, prepared before release, and supported after release, those numbers actually start making a difference. Families stay stronger, and community, again, like I said earlier, they are strengthened and they grow stronger. Now, because the House of Hope focuses on the entire person, body, soul, and spirit, and the entire reentry journey, we see measurable and meaningful outcome. A couple of numbers just to give you. So in an average, we serve about 150 people between the Inside program and our transitional program. And this is annually now, right? So once released under our care, 94% of our residents actually find employment within 3 to 4 weeks. Now you may say, wow, that's a big win. Not necessarily. Because still, that takes effort from the community like us to come together to make sure that these people that are coming to our care are actually being, giving the chance, a second chance that they so long to receive. And I tell you what, I've seen one of the most eager and excited people, like the desire to really make a change in their life. I mean, one of the best employees that you can ever have is somebody coming out of prison and giving that second chance. I know this at firsthand because I was given an opportunity in a second chance at one point in my life. And I'll share that with you as we get to the end here. 92% maintain sobriety and program compliance during the reentry process, meaning that people that come through our program, they stay focused. Not to say that within the structure, they don't have temptations because they come at them, but that the temptations are tamed based upon the structure that we have set up for them. Our recidivism rate is actually lower than the state. I think the state right now, state of Florida, recidivism rate is about 24%, based upon my calculations. And I'm not very good with math, although I did a lot of surveying, land surveying. But I think where we stand right now is about 11% is our recidivism rate, which is phenomenal. See, this is not a short-term intervention. This is actually a long-term transformation. One of the biggest things is for us within our finances is that the most expensive part of what we do as an organization is the transitional housing, right? And why is that? Because it's the highest point of risk. Because when somebody is coming out of prison, it's almost like you're throwing all these resources, right, to help them become the man or the woman that God is calling them to be. Now, why this matters? This matters because successful reentry produces measurable outcomes. It reduces public spending, it enhances public safety, stronger family stability, and I see this currently with some of our residents. We have a resident right now, he's been with us for about 5 months. His name is Kyle, and Kyle, this Saturday, for the first time since he's been incarcerated, is about to go see his 10-year-old daughter. And that to us is a big win. that we're able to support him. He's been sober this whole time. He's been focused. Like 2 weeks ago, he just bought his first car. And these are milestones for these people that are getting out of prison, trying to restore their life. And I always say, it's like, I always say it like this. It's almost like the butterfly, the morphing process. You see the cocoon or the chrysalis, whatever you want to call it, but you see the cocoon, you never see that kind of like, but the process of like, then you see like the butterfly come out, and it's like a beautiful creature, and you see like both extremes, right? But you never see the in-between of the process of the butterfly actually becoming. And this is where the House of Hope sits in, that we're able to see the entire process. We see the good, we see the bad, and we see the ugly. But we're committed because we believe that we have a mandate from God, our Creator, to help these people become who they're called to be. This is not a temporary response to crisis. It's a long-term prevention and strategic community investment. Now, to highlight a few testimonies, we have our brother, Mr. Mack, here with us. Mr. Mack has been with us about 8 months, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm just going to read you a small little paragraph that he wrote when we highlighted him in one of our newsletters. He said, "The House of Hope has given me more than a roof over my head. It's giving me a life filled with hope, peace, and purpose. I thank Jesus every morning and every night. I finally know what it means to be alive. Life is beautiful. I have never experienced so much peace as I have now." Now, the story there is that Mr. Mack spent 25 and a half years in prison. Some of us might not be that old in this room. And so when I hear this, it touches my heart, because I'm like, here we are literally helping a grown man learn how to walk and live again. Another story, like I mentioned earlier, about Kevin, our dear brother Kevin Ray. He said this in one of our newsletter. He said, "Walking out of prison was overwhelming. I had no family waiting, no home, and no resources. Only God and a decision to trust Him completely. The journey hasn't been easy. At House of Hope, I found restoration, support, brotherhood, and the opportunity to serve others walking the same road I once walked. Today, I'm not just part of a ministry. I am a living proof that Jesus can do through me like He can do through anyone else. My heart is full, my hope is renewed, and my future is secured." Now, these are not made up stories. I got 2 living testimonies of people that are here with us. And just to kind of like give you even a little bit more of a cherry on top, me, myself, I live a destructive lifestyle many years ago. And I was facing at one point, because of that, 20 years mandatory in prison. And by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, I ended up being convicted for 3 years mandatory in prison. And so I ended up going to prison for 3 years in 1998. And halfway through those 3 years, another inmate invited me to go to a chapel service. And I attended a chapel service, not knowing what to expect. I was not a religious person, didn't know anything about it. All I know is that there was a volunteer up in the pulpit sharing his life story and saying, "If you're ready to change your life, tonight is your night." And that's all I heard. I didn't hear anything else. He said, "Why?" Because that's what I wanted. I wanted a new life. And so he did an altar call, and I went forward, and this is April evening of 2002. And I remember going up, kneeling down, said this prayer, and I remember getting up from that altar, walking outside of the chapel, and I said these words: "I will never again be the same person. I had no clue what I was saying. All I know is that there was a longing and a desire inside of me to change. Long story short, I ended up going to chapel regularly. And in one of those classes that I was doing, there was a name named Gary. And Gary said, Robert, I heard of the transformation that God is doing in your life. There's actually, I think you will be a great candidate for a transitional program. Now, when I heard the word transitional, it lost me. I'm like, what does that mean? I didn't even know what it meant. And he said, it's a place that is going to help you when you get out of prison. And I said, well, when I get out of prison, I'm going to go back to South Florida, and I'm going to go get a job, and I'm going to go take care of Robert Jr. By then, Robert Jr. was about 6 years old. And so he said, Robert, that's a great plan, but let me tell you, that's not a plan. You want to be a father to your son. What you don't understand is getting out of prison, you're going to need to be fathered. And I actually got offended when he said that. I'm like, who are you, like, to tell me that I can't go take care of my son? I said, get back to the dorm. Those words resonated with me. And long story short, a week later, I told him, where's that application so I can fill it out? I fill out the application to be accepted to the House of Hope. And in July of 2003, I need to slow down. I get excited. July of 2003, I get out of prison into the House of Hope. Now, that's a story that here it is 20-something years later that I'm standing here as a witness testifying to you of the transforming power that there is when someone inside the prison is giving support and guidance. When you get out of prison and you have support outside of prison, and thereafter, when you stay connected to a community like the House of Hope. Only by the grace of God. That's all I can say. And obviously, there's a lot of in between, and the rest is history. And you may say, Robert, how you ended up being the director of the House of Hope. I'm still trying to figure that out myself, but I'm here today. So we are focused on building the foundation on the inside, walking it out through reentry on the outside, and multiplying the impact. And we are living proof as we sit here today and stand here today. We are living proof of that. Multiply the impact of giving back. Now, just to land it, there's a scripture that I hold dear and nearly to my heart. I totally forgot about the PowerPoint presentation. Bear with me. That's Mac and Kevin. And this scripture here, it says, those who are planted in the house of the Lord will flourish. See, that principle shapes everything we do, because when people are planted in accountability, in support, and in purpose, they don't just thrive, they grow and are transformed. And that's what the House of Hope is focused on. Now, I want to land it with this thought. You know, when we made a decision to come here today, and when we're getting ready to go, all of us, I would say most of us, drove here. If you didn't, then hopefully this will make sense. Now, the reality is that I'm holding a key here. This is the key to my vehicle. And when we're done here and finished, we're going to walk over to my vehicle. I'm going to be able to unlock it, and I'm going to be able to get into the vehicle, and I'm going to be able to put the key in the ignition and start the vehicle. Well, hopefully it will start, but start the vehicle. If not, I got AAA, and I think Mr. Mack got AAA as well. But we will start the vehicle, and the idea is that once you start the vehicle, now you have the ability and the access to reach the destination that you desire. House of Hope goes into prisons, and we are handing keys to inmates that are getting to prepare their lives for them to be able to be set free and go to the destination that they desire to accomplish or to get to. which ultimately is to have a life like I have today, like Ray has today, Kevin Ray, and like Mr. Mack has today, that we can walk confidently knowing that the Lord has set us free, not just from the old lifestyle, but that now we are giving back, and that we're all walking around, who is the next person that I need to be handing the key to so they too can walk in the freedom that we're walking into. Thank you for allowing me to share. And I am sure that if if you have some questions, I'll be more than happy and try to answer some.
Robert, I've heard the term curb your enthusiasm. Don't ever curb yours. That's amazing. You're the man.
Amen.
Tell me a little bit more about getting into the prison to start the transition. I don't understand how that worked, like it did for you. Is that a purposeful, planned thing?
So the House of Hope back in the days and still today, we have affiliation with different volunteers that go into the prisons. And so they know us. This is the volunteers. They know us. We know them. They know our desire and our principles. So what they do is, as they are going through the process of going and doing the work that they do, actually Mr. Mack is a good example of that. Mr. Mack, there's a group called Kairos. And so Kairos ministry goes to many, they go to many different prisons. And so in Kairos, the House of Hope is affiliated with that ministry. And so they will refer people like Mr. Mack to the House of Hope. And so what we do is we give them an application, they fill it out, we'll sit down and we'll do an interview process. And really, we know that we have limited space, so it's not like we can give an opportunity to every applicant. But we go in full of discernment and trusting that God is sending the right people to us. Obviously, with Mr. Mack, it's like, man, I thank God that we chose Mr. Mack. Anyway, but it's just a reality. So yeah, to answer your question is, we have many different volunteers, and obviously, one of the things that we've done now, kind of like what I mentioned, is that the Reset program, which is something that is still developing, and it's something that is going to go, I believe, is going to make an impact on many inmates. We're actually in the process of developing an app where this app is not only going to help us with our transitional program, but this app, as you know, I don't know if you know this, but inmates now have access to a tablet, kind of like whatever it is. It's not an Apple tablet, whatever. What is it? An Android app, which, I got my thoughts about Android, but anyway, that's a funny joke. But we're developing an app, and so the idea will be is that as we go in now into prisons and we do this program, we can only serve about 50 inmates at a time. When we do this program, we do 3 programs a year. We do one in the spring, one in the summer, and one in the fall. And so we try to choose the right people. This app is going to actually reach out to a lot more inmates, and we're going to put that program in the app for inmates to take it. So it looks like we're out of time, okay. Rightfully so.
No. You got a few minutes.
Can we get your guests to stand up and take a bow so we can all give them a round of applause?
Absolutely. Come on, Mr. Kevin Ray and Mac.
You ready? No, there's no Zoom questions. Nope.
Robert, can you stay afterwards and answer some questions? I'm sure there's some more people. So Robert's going to join us afterwards. If you have any additional questions, Robert, don't leave, buddy. Don't leave. Thank you so much for speaking with us today, and thank you for all the work that you do. Appreciate it. We are going to be making a donation to the Rotary Foundation in your name. And with that, let me just share a couple things. Again, we have the social this Thursday. We hope to see everybody at 5:30. We have the work day on Saturday. You'll be well fed, I promise. Next week's speaker is Dr. Karen Harris. She's going to give us a talk about her experience at Burning Man, so that should be very enjoyable. Yep, Burning Man. Exactly. So the winning ticket for the reading safari is 674-248, 248. If you haven't seen Wilbur, he's back there. He's selling tickets. He's got that look like he's got the winner today. And if we could finish with the four-way test, which is up on our screen, if you'll say it with me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Way to go, Mike. We are adjourned.
To see if it fits my truck.